this was coming. Yes, yes, yes. This is the truth behind the Joe Budden Esther Baxter story or relationship or whatever you want to word it as. Uh, it's another Joe Budden disaster story. What 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 more could you say about a situation? It's another typical Joe Budden situation that just blows up and becomes bigger than life. You see, Joe is always attracted to a certain type of woman. And when you notice that people who seem and tend to have beefs with guys, it's always over another woman. And these guys seem to have a beef with the woman all the time. But then when the man shows up, well, let's get to it. First off, thank you. I know it's been hard times out there for everybody going through all the stuff we've been going through. And, people still been hitting up the Cash App, donating to the Cash App. I appreciate that. That just shows love and stuff and appreciation for what I do. And I'm proud and very honored, and humbled that you guys would think of me, even in this, all this madness going on right now. That you took time out of your lives to think about me. I appreciate that. So, this story here will go a lot deeper on the Patreon. Um, I'll make it for all access and VIPs as we go into there. People like, is there gonna be naked pictures of Esther Baxter? It might, but that's neither here nor there. Now, when Joe Budden met Esther Baxter, she was already coming out of I don't know what they were calling that, with Bow Wow or whatever he was calling it. But she had been rumored to, been with a couple of people. She had a son she was trying to raise. She was going to school. She wanted to do acting and get some movie roles and, do some things out here. And Joe was this rapper who had a contract, who had an apartment. He was doing his own mixtapes, and he had a lot of stuff going on. Old Joe. And Joe loved the strip club life, and Joe was always looking for that extra video girl to be around. Now, there was always rumors that Nelly was hitting it, and Lil Wayne and Diddy and them was all these things going on in the early 2000s. So 6 years in, she's looking to get probably booed up. So her and Joe are dating for about, let's say, about a year and some change. They're going through it. He just came off the Tahiri breakup. He got mad after she was swimming with dolphins with Drake. And now he goes over to, Esther and dealing with this situation. And that breaks out into something just absolutely crazy. Um, every time Joe would have something going, or she had something going, or if it was something about her, where she was doing a photo shoot or photo op or whatever she was going to do, she was always, it's her moment, be there, support her, and all these different things. But if he was doing something, or if he was talking to a female or anything else, she would react like, you're disrespecting me right now. You're talking to somebody else. And I'm not talking to anyone right now. I'm playfully flirting, laughing, but I'm not trying to sleep with her. I'm networking with them. I'm being friendly. Why am I being interrogated? So he had his laptop. She's going through his laptop, looking through stuff, and he's just laughing. And it's like, oh, she's out of town doing something or whatever. Joe's cheating on her, and all of these different things. So apparently, she was on birth control. Then they decided to get off of birth control and start, sleeping together, just not paying attention. This was during Joe's drinking and pill era. So he's pill popping and getting high and drinking and doing all these other things he was doing at the time. Um, it was one of these days where allegedly Esther and Joe get into an argument at a restaurant after he finds some pictures of her with some guy. And when he sees the picture, he freaks out, grabs her by the arm out of the restaurant, takes her home, and allegedly beat her. Now, this became the story of legend that went on and all these different things, where at the end of it, you know, she ended up having to call the police on Joe, where Joe was arrested. She went to the hospital and she had a miscarriage and she was 3 months pregnant. Then the more disturbing thing came out is that Joe Budden sat on her stomach for 30 minutes in a fight with her, trying to restrain her and keep her calm and down after kicking down a door and other things that transpired there. They didn't know the sex of the child until the miscarriage, and it was a girl. Joe made bail and was barred from his home for, I think, a couple of weeks. They had a temporary restraining order in place until someone go down and filed a full-time restraining order. He was barred from his home, couldn't go there. So he started staying at Tahiri's house again, sleeping on her couch because she didn't want anything to do with a relationship with Joe, but her and Joe was still friends. Now, here's where things get a little weird. During this process, they are arguing back and forth about all the things that happened as she's pressing charges against him and all of these things and taking him to court. She still like semi loves him or whatever, and didn't even want to bring all of this up to embarrass him. She wanted to keep the whole incident private. Now, like I said, we're going to get into more of this on the Patreon because there's a lot of things I'm skipping over and dancing over. So, after this or during this process of what was going on in their relationship, Joe Budden and her were supposedly going to get back together. They were communicating for a while. And then he was like, basically, let's try to be friendly, if anything. Maybe we can give it a second shot, and try to work things out. etc., etc. So they're back kind of messing around again with each other, but then she gets distant from time to time, and it's like not making any sense. So he calls her up and was like, look, you know, no, don't call me, Skype me. And she won't respond. He'll say, well, hit me up when you get to the hotel out in LA. And she'll get to LA and never call him from the hotel. He says, no, call me from the hotel phone so I can know what hotel you're at. That never happened. So she would say, oh, well, they didn't have good Wi-Fi at the hotel I was staying at. He was like, well, what hotel was that? But he found out from snooping because he called one of her friends, and the friend that she said she was with, she forgot to clear this story with her friend who was looking for her also. And it's like, yeah, I was calling her because I heard she was out this way. And she's like, I couldn't get her on the phone. She's like, I haven't heard anything from her since she's been out here. So she was just lying. Come to find out that she claimed she was making a movie with a running back, former running back from Los Angeles, named Derek Ward. He used to play for the Texans at the time, and he played for a couple of teams. Played for the Bucks originally. Now, I know Derek Ward from when he played with the Bucks. That's how I know him. And what I knew about Derek Ward was he normally didn't play any games. Like he was he's a nice dude, man, very nice dude. But he's somebody that don't really play no games. He's LA all the way. Now, the problems exist when you see Joe. How could I put this in a nice way? Joe is always in this same situation. Don't this sound like another story with Joe Budden being mad at another guy because they didn't got with his girl or a girl he was dating? Same thing here. He blows up. He's going crazy, making threats, this and that. You're with such and such. You're doing this. You're doing that. So he finds out basically she was just staying at his house while she was out in California, and blaming her, and it's like, oh, now you're pregnant again. And this is about this guy. Now I feel bad for your son. So he makes a song where he basically degrades her. The entire song is about it's like four parts, a 4-part song, a 20-minute rap song basically. So it's like 4 different rap versions. And he talks about, causing her to lose the baby and all these different things, and all in this song called The Closure. Amazing song. Probably one of his best he ever made. At least I think the third one is. But overall, yes, some of his best work. See, Joe makes his best work when he's going through pain. A lot of people do. Anyhow, him and Derek goes into this crazy Twitter war years after all this went down because Joe went and met her in Miami. And she was there, and Joe flew down. Crazy as can be, and she was there with Derek Ward. So when Joe met Derek Ward, it was, if you want her, you can have her. Look, I'm not going to trip. I'm not going to fight over some girl. Look, if she wants to be with you, it is what it is, man. I don't even care, dude. I don't have no problems with you. This was in Miami when he saw Derek Ward right then and there, face to face. Whole different guy, right? Now, years later, fans, I don't know how, they end up getting on the timeline and bringing this stuff up. And Joe Budden jumps up and gets into the chat room and decides to start talking. Then everything gets haywire. Everything goes black. Everything gets crazy. And all these words are being thrown around. He was this bum. Derek Ward woke up so eager to speak my name today. I'm flabbergasted. He was like, bum? Negro, I ain't got to speak your name. That it pop up on my timeline every other week. You beat a B down, my dude. So he's fam. I ain't gonna argue with you over Esther. Not sure why you want to either, honestly. And he was like, I will roast this N-word because I'm petty. That's what Joe said. I want to roast this N-word because I'm petty and eating steak alone. So I got time today, but I won't. I'm mature. He was like, and Derek was like, come on, bruh. When we met you, you was not talking all like all of this. Like, what are you doing like right now? Let's keep it real. And he was like, Joe, we may up the same every few years. I just do it for a lot cheaper. So basically, Derek Ward also had to come out and say, watch what you say to me, my N-word, because you don't know me, bruh. We already been through this in Miami back in 2011, cuz. Fam. He's like, I ain't arguing over that chick, bruh. She's burnt, and the lower region was beat to shreds. I'm saying you need to stop with the beating of this chick, and it becomes public. So anyway, Joe Budden and him was going back and forth, and it got super crazy. I mean, super crazy. So if you get that mad at a chick, you want to beat her or push her, or even slap her wrist away, that it is weak, my dude. So I'm sitting at home with a few stacks in the bank and thanking God I don't have to list of domestic abuse cases like you got. And he's like, right. He said, we both petty, so the adult thing is out the door. Sorry it took so long for me to respond. I was grocery shopping. I needed eggs. And then he responded back to the Joe line talking about he do it for a lot cheaper. He was like, a lot cheaper. No, you don't. You gotta pay them big old A bonds just to get out of jail from beating them because of. And he was like, that's because all the chicks you bang obviously didn't have a male figure in their life growing up. So they're effed up already going into a relationship with you. Boom. That's it. That's the truth. That is the truth. Joe had no real response to this. There's nothing else he could say. I mean, what more could he really say in response to this? All he was trying to say is, I just need for people to say, for you bloggers who prefer lies over the truth. After 1 year and 7 months, all domestic violence and grand larceny charges against me were dismissed. God is good. So the 34th precinct, where he was charged and everything else, from taking the cell phone, the violent assault, and everything else, and he tweeted while that time, "I'll be out in time for the strip club later." So that's Joe Budden. But don't this sound like the Joe Budden story all over again? How many times does this have to keep happening? Don't you see a pattern? Who's his best buddy? Charlemagne. What do they have in common? They love to put down women, don't they? I mean, make them feel like nothing. And it's always the same type of women. For Joe, it's always a broken woman, like Derek just said. It's a certain type of woman. A woman who's been broken, probably had daddy issues. He forces them in a relationship where he's the boss, he's daddy, he's in control. The moment they try to have some identity or something for themselves, here he comes with the smothering, the arguing, the violence. So why is there no energy towards a guy? He'll make a record battling a dude, but that's it. The ransom situation was about as close as he was gonna get. And he got his buddy punched in the face. When Wu-Tang came and tagged him up, he stood there in the same room with him. "I probably deserve that." And went live. Back before live was even live. He's recording it. "Yeah, I just got rocked in the eye." So my thing is, where was your energy at then? Where was the crazy? It seemed like Crazy Joe only shows up for the women. But like he said, when he saw you in Miami, you didn't have that energy that you had on Twitter. Why you got that energy now, but didn't have that when you was face to face with it? Can't respect that. So I'm gonna end it on that note. Thank you for your support. My Cash App is Carcino. Y'all know that. Don't forget to join the Patreon. Carcino for Life is the Patreon. We will go into more detail on the Patreon, definitely. I promise you that. Because there's a lot of holes that was left out. And we'll fill those. And I'm out.